Dennis here, Capital Training and Shoeing. We're going to recap the video that we did on hoof wall distortion, what it is and how to recognize it. You know, as I think back, you know, over quite a while back now, how I got started as a farrier was probably in much the same situation that you guys are in. I was unable, for whatever reasons, to find someone that would do the kind of work that I was looking to have done. And how did I know what I was looking for? There was a gentleman that was a farrier on the West Coast, and he had shod horses for pretty famous people, and because of that, I believed what he'd said. He used to be one of Don Dodge's horseshoers, and I'm thinking, well, if he's good enough to shoe for people like that, he's sure good enough for me to listen to. And he told me about how a horse's foot should look, how it should be setting on that shoe, and just a lot of detail about how a horse should be shod. And I listened to him, really was interesting to me. And when I hired a farrier to come in, it didn't look anything like this gentleman told me it should look. His name was Wayne Cozart, and he was from near Santa Barbara, California, so he had that kind of West Coast style that is so popular now too. And anyway, long story short, I went through every horseshoer in the country, and none of them made it look like Mr. Wayne said it should look. So I just started shoeing myself. And you talk about a humbling experience. For one, holding those feet, you know, and getting under there. I'd never done anything so physically demanding in my life. And then I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to use the tools I had. I didn't know how to make anything work. But I finally got shoes on this horse, and 6 hours later I had shoes on one. And you know, but I didn't quit. I kept going. I kept going. I kept learning. As today, I'm still learning. And I think any good professional will tell you that it is an ongoing, never-ending learning process, and you know, and things just evolve over time. There's a lot of people involved. There was a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of horses involved. There was a lot of other horseshoers involved. Just a network. I mean, you go through and as opportunities present themselves, you address what you know to do at the moment, and then you go on. You might go along doing this for some time, and then find out, you know, boy, I wish I wasn't doing that anymore, because this way that I've learned over here looks to be so much better for the horse. And that's what I've always tried to do, is I've tried to stay open-minded, and when I would get around competent horseshoers, and competent horseshoers usually gather, and they will talk shop with each other about what to do here and how do you address this, and then, you know, the ideas would start coming about. So what I'm talking to you about has been in the process of the making for decades. So hopefully what I'm able to do is shorten the time frame that you might have. You don't have to go through those growing stages. You know, you can learn from guys like me, hopefully me, and you know, shorten that time period if you choose to do your own work. But the first thing we have to be able to do is to recognize what needs to be done. And distortion that I'm talking about in this video is primarily a foot that's too long. And as it gets too long, it starts to separate away from the foot itself. If it's on the side of the foot, it'll flare out to the side. If it's in the front, you know, the front will sometimes start bending way up high, and the foot just pries, the hoof wall just starts prying away. Essentially what it's like is if you were loading up on your thumbnail and the thumbnail was the only thing touching the ground, and you pull down, you're basically ripping your thumbnail off with extra growth. And as that happens to a horse, a naturally occurring thing is as that foot grows and the horse moves around, it'll start to pry out of there, and then it chips off. And it looks kind of unsightly, and it's not the best by any means at all, but it's no need to panic, because a competent horseyer can come in and trim that horse and instantly have it back in good shape. Sometimes they'll chip off and leave little chunks out of the side. That's all right. The foot grows new from the hairline to the ground, and it takes a year to get from the hairline to the ground. The new growth is up here. What you're seeing in the hoof wall itself has already been laid down. It's not, it's not, that hairline up here is what we need to protect. The bottom of the foot, like this one, got a chunk out of it. Big deal. It's not even touching the ground. You see, that's the way this horse trimmed himself. And the toe on this foot is too long, and it needs to be addressed, but the side is okay. Primarily, what we're looking for as farriers, as horse owners, as veterinarians, we should be looking to get the foot trimmed in such a way that it supports the internal structures of the leg in the best possible way for the horse. And that's what this little video that I'm talking about was addressing, is how to recognize distortion and what to do about it. Now, in this video, I mentioned that I have courses on doing that, and I think that if this interests you, if you find yourself in need of a farrier and you can't find one, or you can't find one that seems to do the kind of work that you want to do, we have solutions for you. The two online courses are, one of them is on just trimming, one of them is nailing a shoe to the good trim job that you did. And I would highly suggest that you do those courses, and then if you really get interested, I have a hands-on weekend course that you can come and actually learn to do your own work. And that's a big boost to your confidence when you go somewhere. You know, if you lose a shoe or you know, whatever, you know, and it is possible to learn how to do your own work in a real short period of time when you have the guidance that you need, and that's what we can provide for you here. Hope you enjoy the video on what hoof distortion is and why it needs to be addressed, and you know, I think you're really going to get a lot out of it. Thank you very much.